What's up, YouTube? On this episode, we're going to the famous Hurricane Creek. On day 4, we woke up to pretty steady rain. We had breakfast real quick and decided to get on the trail as soon as we could. While the rain was not super hard, it was still steady enough that you didn't want to be outside. We spent most of this morning traveling the back roads just north of Asheville, making our way towards the town. As we climbed in elevation, we quickly realized the only views we were going to see today were of the clouds.
We won't be able to see anything today.
By the time we got to Asheville, we had decided to hit I-40 and start making our way back around towards our beginning near Johnson City, Tennessee. That decision also enabled us to hit Hurricane Creek and Max Patch on this trip. With a fairly abrupt turn off of I-40, we have made it to Hurricane Creek. The first part of it seemed more like a gravel road or a driveway up until you got to the houses. Then it started getting a little better. Not far past the houses, we found a couple campsites. We decided to have lunch here before we continued the expedition. As soon as we finished lunch and got back on the trail, the fun started. This was the first of a few creek crossings. None of them were very deep, but you did have to pick your way through the rocks. We started to encounter a few mud holes at this point. So far, nothing that a regular four-wheel drive couldn't do.
So this is just an old, like, wagon road maybe?
Yeah, that's what I would say it is. By this point, we started getting into some rocks and some washouts. This is an area that if you didn't have very much articulation, you could definitely pick a wheel up off the ground. And then we found this.
Uh-oh.
You want to stay in through this sticky mess?
No.
I would stay on your side. Let me just come pick you up. She's gonna mess up right here. Nope, she made it. Notice her line selection and balance are improving. This mud was incredibly slick, and a lot of people had thrown pieces of timber or whatever else in these ruts trying to build them up. That's why I was taking my time to make sure that nothing kicked up underneath the undercarriage of the Jeep. Alan and Nancy done fine through this section. They did rub a little bit with their 2-inch AEV lift and 34-inch tires. They did fine. A lot of people think sway bar disconnects are just for articulation. It's for ride comfort as well. Notice what little bit our Jeep moves around there while the suspension does all the work. When Alan and Nancy come through, look how rigid their suspension is. It's all got to do with the sway bar disconnect. There are several water crossings, like I said earlier, but again, none of them are very deep or difficult. This trail being like all others, you never know what you're going to see. Yep, we found the magic school bus.
Everything's so slippery.
The further up the creek we went, the narrower the trail got and the bigger the rocks became. You definitely had to pick your line here, and even with a little bit larger tires and lift, you're still going to scrape your frame from time to time on that. As we started to make our ascent further up to the head of the creek, you could tell that this trail had been here for a long time. The rocks on the uphill side and the trail degradation there on the low side definitely made for an off-camber situation. If you weren't comfortable with your rig, it could definitely make you pinch up a little bit. This is an area where disconnected sway bars are a disadvantage, because you have a tendency to have a downhill lean.
But the more I ride in it,
It's like,
more,
okay, it'll go this far.
yeah.
This was our first trip with our new Clayton suspension. While it was a lot more stable, it still took a little bit of getting used to because of the height.
Like that,
You can breathe now.
yeah.
Like that much.
But like stuff like that, this is the side slanting stuff, I always get out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't video it, so I don't ever feel that slant that you have to stay on the edge.
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Video don't do the off-camber here justice. And the other side of it is right off the road there, it was about 20 or 30 feet straight down. And just when we thought we were out of Hurricane Creek and back on the gravel road, we found this fun section here. Alan and Nancy picked an alternate line, but still ended up picking up a tire a couple times.
Another wheel off the ground.
This will be the last obstacle coming out of Hurricane Creek. The ruts there are about 1 foot to 1.5 feet deep. We didn't get any footage of the orange deep coming through. Here you can see Alan and Nancy splitting the ruts to try to stay out of them.
Good job.
After we left Hurricane Creek, it was off to Max Patch, but you'll have to wait till the next video to see that one. We hope you liked the video. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thanks again for watching Coddiwomple Overland. See ya.